February 14th, 2002, Salt Lake City. A 20-year-old Canadian snowboarder stands at the starting gate of his Olympic dream. His name is Ryan Wedding. 24 years later, that same man will become one of the FBI's 10 most wanted. A $15 million bounty on his head compared to Pablo Escobar and El Chapo, accused of trafficking 60 metric tons of cocaine per year and ordering multiple murders. This is the story of how an Olympic athlete became one of the world's most dangerous drug lords, and 3 days ago, he was finally arrested. But the question remains, how does someone go from representing their country on the world's biggest stage to hiding in Mexico under cartel protection? September 14th, 1981, Ryan James Wedding was born into what seemed like the perfect life. His maternal grandparents owned Mount Baldy ski resort. His uncle coached the Canadian women's national alpine ski team. His father, Rena, was a successful engineer who had competed in skiing himself. For the Wedding family, skiing wasn't just a hobby, it was a religion, and Ryan was raised at the altar. His grandfather Lawrence had him on skis almost as soon as he could walk. But even in those early days, there were signs of something different about Ryan. He was fearless, absolutely fearless. Friends remember him disappearing for hours, exploring logging trails alone on his bike. His mother will sometimes find him in neighbors' garages on his tiptoes, rummaging through their tools. Ryan was curious, adventurous, and hungry for something more than Thunder Bay could offer. Then, when Ryan was 12 years old, everything changed. His father got a job offer that will move the family across the country to Coquitlam, British Columbia. And it was there in the shadow of the coastal mountains that Ryan Wedding found his calling. Ryan Wedding entered his first snowboarding competition at age 12 and he won. That caught the attention of Bob Allison, a former professional skier who was building an elite team to represent Canada. At the age of 15, Ryan Wedding made the Canadian national snowboarding team. He was the baby of the squad, the blue-eyed kid who will go to bed early with his teddy bear while his teammates hit the bars. But come morning, he was as bold as any one of them. In 1999, he won the bronze medal at the Junior World Championships. In 2001, the silver medal at the Junior Worlds. Ryan Wedding was on track to become a household name, a Wheaties box champion, the future of Canadian snowboarding. And then came the moment he had been training for his entire life. Ryan Wedding walked into the Olympic Village as a symbol of everything his family believed in: hard work, discipline, and excellence. The entire town of Thunder Bay was watching. For most athletes, that will be the end of the dream. A respectable showing at the Olympics, maybe some coaching opportunities, a career in sports management. But for Ryan Wedding, this was just the beginning of a very different kind of career, because what happened next will change everything. Ryan Wedding was about to discover that there was a lot of money in a different kind of powder. After the Olympics, Wedding moved back to Vancouver. He enrolled at Simon Fraser University, developed an interest in bodybuilding, and took a job as a bouncer. For 2 years, it looked like he was trying to build a normal life. But something had changed in Ryan Wedding: the glory of competition, the adrenaline of risk, the pursuit of perfection. He missed it all. So he dropped out of university and started looking for other opportunities. And that's when he discovered real estate speculation. There was just one problem: he needed capital. Ryan Wedding's solution was a 6,800 plant marijuana grow operation on a suburban property with a name that now seems almost comically on the nose: 18 Carrot Farms. September 22, 2006, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police received a tip about suspicious electricity usage at a property in Maple Ridge, British Columbia. When they raided 18 Carrot Farms, they found something that will make Canadian drug enforcement history: 6,800 marijuana plants, 39.2 kilograms of dried cannabis, a loaded Remington shotgun, ammunition, a total estimated value of $10 million. But Ryan Wedding wasn't there. He had somehow known to stay away, and without direct evidence linking him to the property, the RCMP couldn't charge him with anything. This is the first critical moment where intervention could have changed everything. But Wedding walked away free, and that freedom will cost innocent people their lives. On June 13, 2008, San Diego, California, Ryan Wedding attempted to purchase 24 kilograms of cocaine from what he thought was a reliable contact.
From his friends and family after I first reported on the case, suggesting that, we were being cruel to report this and that he was a great guy.
The cocaine was going to be smuggled into Canada using a sophisticated boat operation he had helped design. There was just one problem. His contact was undercover officer Joe, an RCMP operative who had infiltrated Canada's drug networks as part of an operation specifically designed to target the Mexico to Canada cocaine route, a route that at the time was controlled by only one person on the Latin American side: Juan El Chapo Guzman, the most powerful drug lord in the world. Think about that for a second. Wedding had unknowingly tried to do business in El Chapo's territory, and now he was caught. In May 2010, he was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. Wedding was sent to the Reeves County Detention Complex in Texas, a private prison mostly populated by migrants awaiting deportation. And this is where the story gets really strange. On Valentine's Day 2011, exactly 9 years after he competed in the Olympics, Ryan Wedding got married in prison to a Persian-Canadian woman he had met through family connections. That marriage will not last long, but the connections he was making behind bars, those will last a lifetime. Because when Ryan Wedding walked out of that Texas prison in 2011, he wasn't the same man who walked in. Prison hadn't rehabilitated him. It educated him, given him connections, taught him how to really operate. And now he had a choice to make: go straight, rebuild his life, maybe reconnect with the sport that had once defined him, or double down on the criminal path that had already cost him 4 years of his life. Ryan Wedding chose the powder, but this time he was going to do it right. By 2015, Wedding had established himself as a major player in the transnational cocaine trade. His operation was sophisticated, methodical, and massive. The Wedding Drug Trafficking Organization, as prosecutors will eventually call it, operated like this. Cocaine was produced in Colombian cocaine kitchens, hidden deep in the jungle. From there, it was transported by boat and plane to Mexico, where Wedding had established relationships with the Sinaloa cartel. In Mexico, the drugs were loaded onto semi-trucks and driven across the border into southern California, where they were stored in stash houses in Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, the cocaine was packed into secret compartments in long-haul trucks operated by a Canadian trucking company. These trucks will cross back into Canada, where the drugs were distributed across the country. By 2015, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi would later claim that Wedding's organization was trafficking 60 metric tons of cocaine per year, making him the largest distributor of cocaine in Canada. That's 132,000 pounds of cocaine every single year. The money was staggering. Prosecutors estimate the organization generated over $1 billion, and Wedding was using cryptocurrency to launder it all, making the money nearly impossible to trace. He owned rare motorcycles worth $40 million, a Mercedes-Benz sports car, property in Mexico. He lived like a king under the protection of the Sinaloa cartel. But here's the thing about building a drug empire. You can't stay on top without getting your hands bloody. And Ryan Wedding, he was willing to kill anyone who got in his way. November 20th, 2023, Caledon, Ontario, a quiet residential neighborhood. Jactar Sidhu and his wife Harbhajan were at home when gunmen burst through their door. Both were shot and killed, and a third family member was wounded but survived. Why were they killed? According to prosecutors, it was retaliation. A drug shipment that had passed through Southern California had been stolen, and Wedding believed the Sidhus were responsible. But there was just one problem. They were not. Wedding wasn't done. On May 18th, 2024, Mohammed Zafar from Brampton, Ontario, was shot and killed over an alleged drug debt. April 1st, 2024, Randy Fader killed in his driveway in Niagara Falls by a hitman known as Mr. Perfect, real name Malik Cunningham. But the most shocking murder came in January of 2025. In Medellin, Colombia, a government witness, someone who had agreed to testify against Wedding's organization, was assassinated. Wedding had allegedly placed a bounty on this person's head, believing that their death will get the charges against him dismissed. By early 2024, law enforcement had seen enough. The FBI, the DEA, RCMP and prosecutors in California launched Operation Giant Slalom, a reference to Wedding's Olympic event, and they had a secret weapon. Spring of 2024, a Montreal-born Colombian-Canadian trafficker named Jonathan Garcia made a decision that will bring down Ryan Wedding's entire empire. He agreed to become a government informant. With John's cooperation, investigators conducted a series of coordinated raids across Los Angeles, Toronto, and Brampton. They arrested Hardeep and Gurjit Singh, the trucking magnates Wedding was using to smuggle cocaine into Canada. They seized over $30 million in drugs, firearms, ammunition, more than $3.2 million in cryptocurrency, but they still didn't have Wedding. By March 2025, Ryan Wedding was running out of places to hide, and the FBI was turning up the heat. March 6, 2025, Ryan James Wedding was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. The reward for information leading to his capture, $10 million. By November 2025, the reward had increased to $15 million, one of the largest bounties in FBI history. Mexican authorities seized motorcycles worth $40 million, believed to be owned by Wedding. The FBI seized his rare Mercedes-Benz, his artwork, and even his Olympic medals. January 22, 2026, Mexico City. After more than a decade on the run, Ryan Wedding made a decision that shocked law enforcement around the world. He turned himself in. According to reports, Wedding surrendered to Mexican authorities on Thursday night. He was immediately transported to the United States to face justice. January 6, 2026, Ryan Wedding appeared in federal court for the first time, pleading not guilty to 17 charges including murder, drug trafficking, and money laundering. If convicted on all charges, he faces a mandatory minimum sentence of life in federal prison without the possibility of parole. As of today, Ryan Wedding sits in a U.S. federal holding facility awaiting trial. His organization has been dismantled. His associates are in custody or waiting extradition. His billion-dollar empire gone.